Because this is a message that Congress has to hear and has to hear often. You can be a hero by cutting the research budget this year, and the economic damage that does, doesn't play out in the next election, but it plays out in the decades to come. It's almost a design failing of democracy, that all of the political incentives are near term, and that causes us to systematically underinvest in things with long-term payoffs, like federally funded research. And so making sure that everyone who works in these buildings here understands that those investments pay off not only 20 years from now, but will pay off in the sort of startup operations you're hearing about today.
We believe, Chris and I understand that the value of science in keeping America a competitive place in a global economy is at the forefront. And we want to make sure that we do everything that enhances the chances that science is honored and esteemed. I also would say, perhaps as an aside, that in my view, science gives the opportunity for policymakers like me to have better answers to difficult questions. So not only is this beneficial to our economy, but it's beneficial to our understanding of the world, so that decisions that we make have more value and have greater consequence, better consequence to the citizens we represent.
Thank you, Jerry, for being a good partner in the Competitiveness Caucus, something that we launched because we saw there was not one area to focus on all the different components of competitiveness globally, to look at tax, trade, intellectual property, innovation, immigration, other policy areas that if we don't get them right, we can reasonably predict that the United States will not be as secure and prosperous and promising a country as it's been. And federal investment in R&D is an absolutely linchpin piece of our being a competitive society going forward.
When I joined the university community, I had no idea the depth and breadth of the science that was happening at most universities, covering essentially all topics of inquiry. And what was particularly surprising to me was how commercially relevant so many of these inventions are. And a surprising number of those turn into products that are heading towards the market that will either save or improve people's lives. There were nearly 1,000 new startups created last year based on research emerging from the American universities, according to Autumn. But it's easy to hear those numbers and not necessarily have them have context. Because each one of those companies, if they succeed, will be something that you will all and your children and your children's children will be using in everyday life, and sometimes may actually save their lives.
Dartmouth chemistry professor Joe Belbruno and I founded FreshAir Sensor. We develop and commercialize sensors for hazardous chemicals, particularly volatile organic chemicals. The first two we're focused on commercializing are nicotine and a component of burned marijuana. So people buy it right now, go out and buy our devices, and then use our app to install them to our cloud-based monitoring platform, and we monitor areas. When smoking takes place, we let people know that somebody is smoking in apartment 310 or room 407. And then we follow it up with a time-coded chart showing a measurement of the substance, so they have scientific proof smoking took place. So like hotels are using it, property management companies, any place that people want to protect other people from smoking. Where this started, my partner Joe got, from 98 to 2007, got NSF funding to work on detecting amino acids. And while he was working on that, he learned a lot about molecularly imprinted polymers, a pretty cool way of sensing things. And Joe then was able to take that and go forward into detecting volatile chemicals instead of amino acids. So it's really based on that platform that he was able to develop different kinds of sensors. And we're developing other sensors for industrial chemicals. We currently have, we have 20 people or 21 people right now. We're growing reasonably quickly. We have we have devices out there, like more going out every day around the country. We're in 25 or 27 states right now and Canada. And so I think in 5 years, we'll probably be in the 150 to 200 person range. 42,000 Americans a year die from secondhand smoke. People, particularly in multifamily housing, are exposed to smoking when they don't want to be, and they're exposed to this danger. So hopefully this can help save Americans and be bottom line friendly for hotels and property management companies.